I'm going to say some things in this video that are probably going to piss some people off. And if it does, that's probably a sign you need to hear this information. Most people are not behind financially because the system failed them. They're behind because they keep repeating the same behaviors and calling it bad luck. And if you're still broke in 2026, it won't be because you didn't make enough money. Because honestly, most people are making enough money. It's because they refuse to change, okay? So let's talk about why that is. Let's start with the biggest lie people tell themselves, okay? You're not broke because you don't make enough money. I have watched people get raises, get promotions, get bonuses, get inheritances, win some money gambling, having money just fall out of the sky on some business deal. And here's what happens. They still end up stressed, behind financially, stuck. And why is that? It's because every time they earn more, instead of making smart financial decisions, what they do is they upgrade their lifestyle. They don't upgrade their skills, and they go out and do silly, stupid things. You want to hear some of them? They go out and get a new car. Instead of going to get a certification or paying off a credit card debt or just doing something smart financially, they go get a new car. They go get a bigger house or get a better apartment or just upgrade their living situation, or they go on a nicer vacation. There's plenty of ways to go on vacation. And when I was younger, doing it on the cheap. And as I get older, do it in a much nicer way that you can do it. So money or more money didn't change their future, not because they didn't have more money, but what it did, it just exposed their lack of discipline, right? Adults in the room don't confuse income with progress. Everyone thinks more income will solve their problems. And all more income does is create larger problems because it allows you to afford more things, more expensive things, have more payments. And that's when you end up with more stress and more worries and more crap on your plate, right? So don't tell yourself that lie about, I just need to make a few more bucks, or me and my spouse together just need to make a few more bucks, and then we'll be able to figure out our financial situation. You know what? More money just exposes your weak discipline, your lack of being able to put your financial world together, okay? So it's not the system that's screwing around with you, it's your lack of discipline, okay? So saving money will not save you, okay? So this is where people come back and they'll give me some pushback and they'll say, well, I'm trying to save. And that's good, but let me be clear about something, okay? Let's be real clear right now about this. You cannot outsave bad decisions. You cannot outsave impulse spending. You cannot outsave short-term thinking. Short-term thinking is why most people stay broke, because the long-term game, and when winning is 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years down the road for some people, they can't do it. It doesn't feel like winning. The payoff is so far down the road, they're just like, screw it, I don't want to wait for that. So saving, which is great place to start, but without discipline, all it does is just delays your eventual financial collapse, right? If your habits are trash and you're not good with investing and saving and doing all the smart things that you can do once you have more money, saving money just gives you a longer runway, right? It allows you to afford more things, pay for more things, have more payments, and it gives you more opportunity to upgrade the lifestyle, but it is not going to eventually get you a place where you're winning at the game of money. And again, the problems will eventually show up, okay? So saving alone by itself is not going to save you. It is one of those things that people just have to understand. If you have poor habits with money, then it just creates what I like to call a normal life, where if all of a sudden you lost your job, within a few weeks, you're screwed because there's no money there, there's no cushion there, there's no emergency fund there, there's no use of smartly putting money away for the long term, okay? So saving alone is not going to help you win. You don't have a money problem. What you have is a consistency problem. What the hell does that mean? This is where people, when I talk to them directly and I'm in their grill and I'm in their face and I'm arguing with them about their financial situation, here's the thing. This is where they get uncomfortable, because here's the thing. Most of you, like I just said, don't have a money problem. You make plenty of money. I know people that make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 as a family. So making the money isn't the problem, because that is a lot more money than most people make. What they have is a consistency problem. So what does that mean? That means they want results without doing the boring, consistent things. They want progress without the repetition, and they want success without sacrifice. So what does all that mean? That is you saying to yourself, if I wanted to be a healthy person and I wanted to lose a bunch of weight, most of us in this world know, pay attention to what you're eating, start moving your body, working out a little bit. Like, it's not super complicated to understand how to make your weight go down. But are most people willing to do it? No, because they don't want to make the food. They don't want to go to the gym. They don't want to go out for a walk. They don't want to say no to whatever it is that they like to eat, okay? And if you're not doing any of these things and wondering what's going on or saying, I should be in a certain place, that is not ambition, okay? That's entitlement. That's saying, I make a certain amount of money, I should have a nice car, or I should have a nice house. And when you're entitled, to me, that's one of the worst things to be as an entitled person. Wealth long-term is built on doing boring things longer, consistently, more disciplined than most people are willing to tolerate. And that's why there are a small number of wealthy people, okay? So listen to that one more time. Wealth is built doing boring things longer, consistently, more disciplined than people are willing to tolerate, okay? Grown adults, if you want to be in the room, this is where grown adults come in. Grown adults do the boring work, especially when they don't feel like it, right? When I go to the gym and I don't feel like it, when I'm making the healthy food and I don't feel like it, when I push the cookies away and don't eat them, those are not easy things to do, but that's what the grown adults in the room do. So do you want to be a financially grown-ass adult, or do you want to be someone who says, well, I'm entitled and I should have those things? No, that's not a good strategy. That's bullshit. So here's another one that I get all the time, okay? Waiting. I'm going to wait. I'm going to do it later. I'm going to figure out the next thing. And waiting is not a strategy, okay? Let's talk about waiting, okay? If your future financial plan is, I'm going to wait for the housing market and the prices to come down. I'm going to wait for some other reason because I'm spending money on investing in my retirement in the stock market. I am going to wait for the next election to come so then they can change some of the laws that'll help me in my financial world. I am going to wait for the economy to get better so I can start making some good financial decisions. You know what? That is not patience, okay? That is not patience. People want to say, well, I'm just waiting, I'm being patient. No, that's bullshit. What that is fear dressed up in quote unquote being realistic. Realistically, when I make more money, we'll do the things. When I have more money, we'll do the things. And every time they make more money, they spend more money, they upgrade their lifestyle, and they do the things we talked about in this video, and then they never get ahead, okay? You're not waiting for clarity. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect amount of money to do these things. What you're waiting for is to be rescued, and nobody is coming to rescue you, okay? Winners, you want to know why winners win? Because they move early, they start investing, they start, doing the research and the analyzing and figuring out, how am I going to get to this place where I want to be? And then they do it. Everyone else who waits then explains later as to, oh, I coulda, woulda, should, I wish I did. I wish I had done that. And that is not a way to get ahead financially. So waiting is a tough game. You do not want to wait too long, okay? So with that being said, this is why most men fail at investing. One is that they wait, but here's the thing. Most of them are not dumb. So you're not failing at your investing because you're stupid. You're not failing at your investing because you're dumb. What happens is people wait too long and then they fail because now they started and they feel like they're behind and they can't sit still. And what do I mean by they can't sit still? Well, they want excitement. They want action. They want certainty. And what do? They want crypto. They want the individual stock tip that the stock's going to go crazy. They want to be a house flipper. They want to find out what real estate market they go buy rental properties in. And they want to listen to Grant Cardone saying, buy a freaking 16-unit apartment complex or buy a fourplex and live in one of the units or do all these things that are not easy to do, okay? And the market, honestly, for many people doesn't reward any of that. Investing isn't about picking the right stock company, the right crypto, timing the market. What it is, it's about buying the right assets. And then it's having emotional control to understand that when things are uncomfortable, when housing prices go down, when the stock market goes down, just be boring. Just put your money in, dollar cost average, put your investments in. It's about having what I call emotional control, okay? If you can't have emotional control over your investments, especially when they go down, this is when I see people, they panic and they freak out and they have these fragile egos. And this is where bad shit happens, where housing prices fall. I watched this happen in 07, 08, 09. I watched it happen 3 or 4 years ago. The second housing prices fell, people wanted to start selling their houses. Or when the stock market starts taking a dumper, they want to start selling out of their stocks. And then what happens is, all this shit long-term recovers, and now they're in a way worse off position than they would have been if they would have just stuck it out. So you have to be able to have your emotions under control, and you have to become what I call an investor, not a trader. We don't want to be a trader. We don't want to day trade and stock trade and buy individual stocks and all that stuff. Now, if you want to do those things, great. We do them after we've done all the basics and the fundamentals, because here's the thing. Wealth rewards patience. Wealth rewards patience. So if you can be patient and play the long game, and if you're doing all the right things, then if you got some extra money, go try to hit the home run. Go try to hit the home run. Because if you screw the home run up and you strike out, at least you've done all the smart things where you know you're still going to win. It's just now you might not win to the level you were hoping to win. You're just going to win on a smaller level, and that is okay. Okay? Now, the other thing I want to talk about is stop blaming the system, okay? This is the part people really don't like, is when I get in their face and I want to hold them accountable and not, don't let the freaking system, it's not the system, okay? You're not behind because the system fails you. You're behind for a lot of the reasons we talked about in this video. You waited too long, you were undisciplined, you didn't want to do the things that were necessary to do, and you chose comfort over change. I'm having conversations with some couples right now. They won't feel the sense of urgency that they need in order to win at this freaking game. And it is not that freaking hard if you can just push some of the things you don't need away from you, okay? You already know, most of you already know where you're pissing money away, the habits that are hurting you. You already know what you need to stop. The question is, are you disciplined enough to stop them, right? Are you honestly a position where you're willing to be uncomfortable? Are you? No, because being uncomfortable is difficult, but having excuses is easy. And when you have to look in the mirror and be accountable to yourself, to your spouse, to your family, that honesty, that accountability, it is hard and it hurts. And I promise you this, if you don't do the things we're talking about, staying broke will hurt much longer. And I don't mean to be all in your grill and point at your face, but it's true. And I want to get that point across you, okay? And here's my last point. The real reason most people will be poor in 2026, here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud, okay, is most of you will be poorer in 2026 than you are today. And not because times are hard, but because they refuse to change their mindset and how they think. They refuse to change how they spend, how they save, how they invest, how they make decisions about all of these things. And what they're going to do is they're going to bring their same old habits and their same old systems and their same old lack of discipline into this new economy, and they're going to expect different results. Oh, I'll start making more. Well, great. You'll make more, you'll spend more, you'll upgrade your life, and it won't freaking matter anyway. And that is not having bad luck. That is a decision you chose to put yourself in these financial decisions, in this financial position. So you have to understand that you have to make some choices here. Okay, so this video wasn't meant to be motivational today, okay? What it was meant to do was smack you between the eyes, wake your ass up, and say to yourself, I need to make some better choices. I need some help in 2026 in order to do that. So if you want comfort, scroll by. Don't pay attention, because I'm not about comfort in 2026. I am about helping people who want to make decisions to better their financial world. And if you want results and you want to start changing, this is the place for you. Because here's what I can tell you. Stagnation is not something that happens to you, okay? It's something you choose every single day. And when you make poor choices over a long period of time, you end up in some shitty spots, okay? So if this is something you think that would be helpful to you, hit the subscribe button. Start following along. I'm easy to find. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and I do short, medium, long-form content. And take it from someone who is a multimillionaire, who has 2 kids in their 20s. And I talk to them all the time, to them, their friends, about all this stuff. Because if you start young and start early and start the path clean, then you can win at this game of money and finance.